Hello everyone, my name is Joseph Betty, and what I'm doing here is I'm going to transform a local scene into a story. Now let's look over here for a little bit. Now what we're looking at here, this is a scenery of 7 Mile Beach. As you look along here, here's the beach, and this is a very popular spot. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this popular spot, I'm going to turn it into my own story, my own artwork. Now, the first thing you need to do once you're doing this is try to replicate the original, which is 7 Mile Beach. This is what I'm doing over here. So what I'm doing, I'm painting the ocean. I'm going to go ahead and paint the ocean. Once I finish this entire scenery here to here, then I'm going to start implementing what I'm talking to you about. Now, what we're going to name the pieces, we're going to name it 7 Mile Dimensions or 7 Mile Portal. That's even a little bit better. Okay, so let's look at what we have currently here. So what I did was, as I explained before, I was gonna do impressionistic of the 7 Mile Beach right here, which I've done right here, as you can see. And if you're a beginner, what I'm gonna do is try to explain in just a very brief detail of what exactly what I've done, and then we'll get more into transforming into your own story or your own original piece. So bear with me for a few seconds. I'm going to explain to beginners what exactly I did. As you saw before when we started, I start from the back. So I painted from the back and I came forward till I'm all the way to the front, meaning that I start with the blues in the skies, then the branches, and then the leaves, and then I come all the way out here to the sun. Now what I did was an impressionistic concept of the 7 Mile Beach. Not a very realistic approach to it. Normally I use a black paint, which will take a little bit more time, so I'm just going to use a marker. Use your black paint to outline it, which gives you a better contour once you're finished with your artwork, and you always go back over it again. For me personally, I go back over with black to kind of highlight it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a vocal point. Now what I'm going to take cubes. So here I have one cube, say triangle, and then I'm going to take this branch right here and I take it, separate it, and put it back into my story as you follow along. So I take this line and I take it right across the original one from the branch, and then from here I take it again from the branch. I'm starting to transform the original into my own story. Now once again, I take the other branch, which is available to me, and then I take it off, taking this branch more here, and then what I need is to balance it off. So I come over here, I'm going to create more of my story, which is right along here. All right, so good so far. And then remember, I says we always try to maintain a balance. So I take my triangle again, take it off to this branch to create me a new take on it. So here you see I've created a door. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint, starting with my God's eyes. So what I kind of try to do is use warm. I use warm colors, and I also use the primary colors. So warm colors and cool colors to kind of balance them also. And then right along here, I take this branch So I'm just gonna use a little bit of darker color. So now I'm starting to change my story. So what we're gonna do, all these outline now, we're gonna just take some time and we're gonna finish it off and then see what it looks like in the end. So this is what we have came up with. So remember we kind of sketched a little bit, but I used a marker and so, all right, so this is where we are now. Now it's not a masterpiece, but yes, we have made a point across. So look, as we look over here, so as you have noticed, I could use a lot more shadow here. I'm gonna leave the interpretation for you to decide what story I am saying in the painting. Now, as you notice, as I go along here, I use cubes and I use the natural thing that is given to me. Pablo Picasso once said, I do not seek, I find. And it's exactly the same method that I use. I found from what I have. Now what I've taken from here is, like I've said, I've used my branches, I've used my natural resources and then added on to it. So for example, if you look along here, my branch is here, my branch is here. What I did was tie them into each other and then kind of take them back into the whole landscape and then try to balance it back off to come back to the front of the painting. I created a vocal point, which if you look close over here, this would be my vocal point where I'm hoping you'll focus more because it kind of says more than the original landscape. Now, so I created my vocal point, and again, you could go into more details to make it a little bit more wow, because the idea is to actually have your audience grab the focus to exactly where you point what you want them to see. So I kind of highlighted it a little bit by using several colors. So I'm working with a little bit of a purple and black right here, and white, blues, yellow, and blues again, and then kind of tie it in together with black. And what I did was kind of take it back off here to create another balance, the balance of what I did here to here, and I could always come along here if I want. And what I just did was added more to my story. Now I could keep going and make my story a lot more interesting based on what I see and based on what the story I'm trying to tell. Now let's go back to what the theme was, and the theme was Portal 7 Mile Beach. I want people to know this is the landscape. I want people to know where this is, but at the same time, I want them to also see my work. So I'm not trying to take away from it a lot. I'm allowing them to coexist together. I could go on with the story and add a little bit more surrealism and whatever it is, but that is for another class. So like I said before, go ahead, make it a lot more nicer, put in more shadows if you want, use some more colors, use the bright colors for sure. Your bright colors is always good with this kind of stuff. It makes your work pop. Like I said before, you're playing with styles, and that's what I do to create my artwork. Once again, thank you for joining me in this class, and I'll see you next time.